That's the sound it makes when you go into a hotel room. Like hitting a bird.
Yep. That's how I'll be tonight.
She did. Do you remember it?
No.
Ornelas is the only thing I remember. It starts with that though. Irma Linda?
Was she by Linda, didn't she?
That's probably her.
Did she talk to you about your position? Okay. She had asked like, I was like, oh, this person talked to you about that. She knows Leslie well, I don't know. She thought that too. She's like, that's what you Leslie like. Trying to think what else she was talking about.
Mm. We'll see that.
You're just a mean problem, okay? We're gonna do a mean, a median, a mode, weighted mean, a COD, just individually problems. They won't run together so bad, okay? Is it big enough? I'll make it bigger. Is it big enough? The one behind me, I thought, not very big, is it? There you go. What is the mean appraisal ratio?
So this guy remembered 64 questions?
Yes, he did.
Oh my
He
god.
made 93.
Wow.
Did Saturday looked down on them. Not someone's got my building even.
Really?
Probably second though. Hit of me, okay? You gotta hire smart people. I have to be smart when the building, we can be in trouble, okay? He wrote it down on Monday morning, just,
That's crazy.
he's kind of crazy, you're right.
I remembered like one from my collections.
I'll get feedback from people that got 3 or 4 or 5, but no 61, no something other. See, I could take that test, write down probably 50, 60 times pretty quick too though. I mean, of course, it's a short period of time,
So you could take this test and pass though? I mean,
But they won't
like,
let us,
could,
they just let the instructors take the test, then instruct the test both, they won't let them do that anymore.
I mean, would it be pretty common for like, I don't know, our chief appraiser's been chief appraiser since like 1993 or something.
They don't retest this thing, guys, okay?
Right. So, would it be pretty common if she were to go take it and fail?
I wanna say she probably won't take it either, like I wouldn't take it either, probably, okay?
Right.
I wouldn't be scared of it quite like that. There's been discussion about having us do recertification programs.
Mm-hmm.
That scares people to death, but
Yeah.
now, I'm gonna say this to you, just to be honest with you now. I understand it better by teaching it than I did when I was just a chief appraiser, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're able to do things in the office, like a little in-house RPA review. We can do little mini sessions to help people, keep fresher than they probably would otherwise, but I wouldn't say your chief would necessarily fail it.
I would.
Huh?
I would.
I would too.
Well, some people
I don't know how she's got home.
are counting days to retirement, okay? Off of a calendar, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, she's not.
I don't think.
That's not good.
No.
There's a
She's
guy,
horrible.
there's a guy in the county next to me that's 69 years old, not planning on retiring. Making $179,000 a year, why should I quit now?
She's not even, I think she'll be 60 this year, but some days I just wonder how she gets around every day in normal life.
Yeah.
Did you get it done?
Yes. 92. B.
92, that's what we got. There's some people who don't function well, it's the same as everybody else, okay? I don't mean that. 92, okay? Let's go back and do a median, okay? Do the median question. 86 for? It makes no sense, does it?
What is
It should be 85, shouldn't it?
No, it should be 86.
Oh, no, it should be
86?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
this,
should be
yeah,
86.
this comes down here, yeah, you're right. I thought my,
Yeah.
my
No,
keys
the
were on.
median's the middle.
That's
When you
86.
put an order, the 86
Oh,
is the
if you
middle.
write them different, yeah.
Yeah,
It just looks funky, didn't it?
yeah.
Let's try the, here's a mode. Here's a question. Mean because all have 5 equal influence. Weighted mean, either the median or the weighted mean. Mode because 3 ratios are the modes, so the answer is going to be D. 3 of them are indicating 80%. Let's try, which 2 answers we call outliers?
1 and 5.
1 and 5.
1 and 5, yes. You'll have a question like that, I think, something of that nature, okay? Let's do, I've already done it, haven't I? Find the mean, the median, and the mode. There's 2 questions here. Find the mean, the median, and the mode. But some people just got their designations.
Yeah, well, my husband quit his job and, I don't know if you want to say, but even one of the
is it?
ARB,
I mean, what people in office. There was a,
yeah.
she's just there, and the rest of people are like, what, that's not good,
But one of our ARB guys from Richard Mappin came down and she forgot to call board members.
Huh?
She forgot to call the ARB members
Oh, well,
and
good.
remind them. Yeah.
It's not good.
And so one of them's in Hereford
Oh my God,
and he's like, oh, I'll be there in 2 hours.
yeah.
So we all had to wait 2 hours and this guy comes into my office and he's like, is it just me or the show isn't it?
Yeah, that's sad. But I'm gonna say this, it's real busy, and here's a other busy times. You got 4 people in offices, couldn't really do yourself in the eye, you know, especially with a map review, and hey, how do you do on a map review?
Well, that's the end of this month. It was supposed to be last week and she got sick, so. But
How
our
about your values that you had to do?
bad.
It's not good.
Three school districts.
Out of margin?
Uh-huh.
Not good.
Which, they're the only 3, well, we have maybe 4 or 5, but.
But I'm gonna say, it's like, don't lose money, to other maps, who leads the fan?
And I don't really, she doesn't let us help her, and so I don't see her side of things, I don't see, but it takes her a long time, and it seems like she's always working on a state report, always. So she never has time to do anything. In her office, you can't even see her desk, you can't, it's like there's stack, and here's her computer in the middle.
Yeah, it's not, it's not, everybody's got a truth. But I'll say this, if your husband quits, you have to work. What's he? It's not
He
money.
trades horses now.
I'm saying, okay.
Yeah. He worked for the feed yard, he had a really good job.
He would-
I don't know.
You get it done?
Ready.
Let's see what we got. Let's look at the mean is 94.7 or 95. The mode's 90 and the median is 96. Are you good with these now?
I'm good with those.
Okay, let's skip those. Let's go over and do the, let's do a, AAD, how about that? What's the average absolute deviation using the mean ratio? Remember that one? You can put the mean out there and figure the deviation to the average deviation. I'm saying, God, so. I'm 60. I'm not there. You know, you move and fall,
Yeah.
the world's passing you by.
Well, like, she can't even get her own Excel.
That's probably not good either.
And she gets these state reports, and
They're in Excel.
she's got 18,000 pages printed out, and she's in there taping everything together and cutting, and it takes her 5 hours.
Wow. Yeah. Can you show her?
I've tried,
She don't want you show her.
and sometimes when you know, she just,
See, I'm saying this. When somebody office is smarter than I am, I have to listen to her. Let me help you get
She,
smarter.
she understands that, she knows
Okay,
that
help
part.
me get smarter. 'Cause I think I've got to figure it out myself. It can be a long day.
She doesn't want to learn, and like credit cards and stuff, somebody will come in and pay. She doesn't want to learn.
Oh, well.
It's changed, the website has updated,
Yeah,
so
Which one's
it's
funny?
different,
yeah.
so she doesn't want to.
See, I'm gonna say this to you though. Some go off the Monday, think they learn.
Yeah.
You
Okay,
get it?
this one, I don't,
Remember the average absolute deviation? We're gonna take, first we're gonna find our mean ratio, remember? Then, let's look and see what we got over here. We found our mean ratio, then we got our deviations, then we did our average absolute deviation. Remember that?
oh, okay, yes, yes, yes.
Right here, dude, that's probably gonna be a .1046, probably should be better than that, you know what? Let's do that. Let's do or .10, I'll extend it out 5 places. There we go, that's probably better,
Yeah.
okay? See, I had to teach myself how to use it. We had Lotus 1, 2, 3. I'm the new kid on the block, nobody wants to do it, so I do it all for everybody. I do everybody ratio studies on Lotus before we have self reports, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I want to get it done.
And she's the only appraiser in the office.
She's the only appraiser?
Yeah.
How many parcels you got?
We have a lot of minerals, but not,
She don't do the minerals.
no.
What's the
I
lady's
don't
name?
know.
That's not good.
Teresa Edmond?
Okay,
Teresa
let's do,
No. She is the sweetest lady, but man,
do a COD, okay? Yeah, but be careful.
yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Because some of those old ladies are confused. I might beat up your back. You know?
I know. Mhm.
She explained to me like that how it was having a job. She had 32 years experience. I was only 33 years old. We were in that company, so she was pretty tough the rest of the way.
Mhm.
We finally agreed that she wasn't gonna do anything. I'm gonna cut your power. She wasn't retired, but it's mainly, that's actually her and 3 others. Get me now. Gradually. Well, she don't quit one day.
Yeah.
Looking for, I been looking for place times. She was kind of one of those guys. I mean, just slammed her keys down the day the auditors finishing up. I thought, holy crap. She's had it out of here. I call audit, she's at the school, but she just, with a really high time. But she wrote a letter before she left. And she said, I'm not ready to do
Oh, gosh.
You know, nowadays, we just lock her up anyway, but back then it was bad enough, but,
Yeah.
because I was just kind of learning things, the inmates wasn't as sound, you know,
Mhm.
it didn't go well, so.
So who should, you know, she's not supposed to appraise her own property, she's not supposed to appraise her own
No.
property. Who should do that then?
Well, y'all should,
When we're not appraisers though.
you want to be an ag guy to do it.
See, she does, she doesn't get anybody.
That'd be
else
an easy
to
way to
it.
do it, you want the PNA guys to look at it. You get it? Bet you got it. We found our, what do we find, our median, we found our deviations, found our average deviation divided by 5 and divided by our major tendency to be 10.7.
That's what, now that I see
You
it.
guessed and got it?
I got it. I forget to go back and divide.
Yes, yes. Okay, anything else here you want to do? You do another COD?
Sure.
Oh, I did the wrong one. See, I'm an Excel nut, so there's 2 extremes there. Somebody can't do Excel, some guy's a nut and does too much Excel, okay? I like to put questions into Excel formulas and that you can just change the question, change the numbers. change the
Yeah.
answers. No, there's somebody in the county that's me that we knew, so his boss actually said, call me if you're here. So, it's kind of a weird thing.
So what's the procedure though, now that we're out of compliance in 3 school districts, what's supposed to happen? I mean,
Well, you gotta get it fixed, number one.
she's having our attorneys protest.
That's good. Then let's really fix it though.
This is what she told me when I first started. I've been there for almost, it'll be 3 years in December, 4 years maybe. Yeah, 4 years. She said, when you get a sales letter in, do your ratio, if it's above this number and below this number, don't enter it.
Oh, really?
File it in a,
Yeah, so you gotta put them all in there, you know why? You don't know where you're at, you don't. Yeah, I mean, you don't have a lot of sales start with, do you?
no, we really don't.
You gotta use the ones you got. The state's gonna use them against you, by the way, okay?
Yeah.
You get it? Yeah, that's not a good methodology there.
No.
Sounds too like you count those days, though. You should get like 8.64?
Yep.
Bingo, let's go. Let's do some law, you want to?
Don't publish this video, okay?
Huh?
No, it's
I'm
for
telling
our
him-
personal
I'm
use
telling
only.
him not to publish this video.
Oh.
Yeah, it's on the
Get those close-up shots, I want the royalties from, okay?
YouTube channel, but stuff like that I'm gonna cut out.
Oh, yeah, and another thing. Yeah, you're, like your resume ready, okay? So,
She doesn't know how to find YouTube probably.
okay, let's talk about some law. Law. We have 15 questions over law. That's pretty serious, isn't it?
Believe it or not, this is my favorite one.
Huh?
I said, believe it or not, this is my favorite course.
I enjoyed the law too.
I actually
I'll tell
do.
you how I had law. I was already a chief appraiser. See, I hadn't took my level 3 yet. I might have just did level 3 and become chief appraiser. Did that 2 years, 3 months. Took my level 3. I had to have a law class. And I'm running out of time. So I wound up going to Amarillo to get law. And the attorney for Purdue taught the class. Kevin did an excellent job. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
We took the code book out and studied the code book. We put thumb tabs on it. We learned the code book like it was something we'd use every day, which we do. Studied the 4 seasons there on the highway in Amarillo. We want to take company check. Had to be cash or credit card. I get there on Sunday afternoon. I go flush the toilet, and steam dries down the toilet. There's hot water in the toilet. Turn the sink on, there's no cold water. It's hot on both sides. Hotel hot on both sides. This will burn you. You know what I'm saying? So the front desk, I heard somebody outside working jackhammering and whatever, working on plumbing. So the guy front says, yeah, so we're having a little trouble with plumbing. He said, I'll get you another room. So they got me another room. The next morning I woke up, had no water in it. So my third room winds up being like 2 doors down from the classroom. Just I walk across the hall of the classroom, and it had water, running water, and everything. It was cool. Get to class, and Kevin says, yeah, I probably should have told y'all. We did tax warrants here 2 times the last 3 years. They didn't pay their taxes. So they said, hey, we're struggling, okay? But I really enjoyed the class, took the course book, code book out, and just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it was really enjoyable, really knowledgeable, and really helped me understand. Well, now that they've changed the course up, you don't even use the code book in the class, and it's just not quite what it used to be. But you're going to have 15 questions, okay? I'm going to show you some stuff here. Then I'm going to jump over and talk about. I think I've got it somewhere else too. I've got it. Pretty sure I got it. We're going to talk about some questions from the RTC law portion of their review, which is a little more extensive than ours. I think it's better. Let's talk about the Texas property tax law. Some definitions to know. It says if you have a closed meeting, do they do a review of her once a year? They're supposed to.
Who's supposed to do the review?
The board of directors.
I don't know. We got overpaid last year too.
Got overpaid?
Yeah. It was from our longevity and So mine wasn't much, nobody else was, but hers
We
was
don't
a lot.
even have longevity, but it's gonna start. Closed meeting, must have a quorum and a certified agenda must be kept. No member of a government body shall participate in a closed meeting knowing that a certified agenda is not being kept, the session does not have a quorum. So if you're gonna have a closed meeting, there's only certain things you can talk about in a closed meeting. It's only personnel, legal action, purchase real estate, several things, and that goes in the umbrella. You gotta post a separate agenda, have a closed meeting, and have a agenda kept for that. So confidentiality can only be promised if the law protects the confidentiality, includes home address information of certain public officials and specified names. You know, we got a list of people now, 3 miles long, that's got confidential addresses. You know, policemen, former policemen, court clerks, former court clerks, I mean, everybody, the dog's confidential except ours. But anyway, ours will never be probably, okay? Meeting, any deliberation between a quorum or one more than half of members of a government body. I used to be in a Sunday school class at the Methodist Church 40-something years ago. Theoretically, on Sunday morning, we could not mention the word Chico ISD because 4 of the members of the class was on the school board. So if we mentioned school, one of them didn't come much, so it's pretty safe. But the fact is, if all 4 showed up, we mentioned school, we violate the Open Meetings Act. We're talking about business without posting an agenda. So, meeting, you gotta post an agenda before the meeting. Open records, all persons are entitled to full information unless access is denied by law. Open records request. The custodian of the records may require the person requesting information to provide a detailed description of records requested, cannot require the person to identify themselves. We're getting lots of open records requests now. One guy's on his 5th request. It's all about the value of his property. He sued us now. He's going to law school. He sent us 5 lists of stuff. He don't want copies. I charge him with copies. He wants access to the records. He knows he can come and stay at least 2 hours without me charging him. So he knows what to ask for. Not ask for. I'm getting what we just said. There's the cabinets. Put them. You want them. You know what I'm saying? So we're being real open with him. He's kind of like, really? I'm not gonna make you jump through hoops to get it. I mean, there's the cabinets. Just brings his own scanner and scans it. So he scanned a 100-page document over ratio studies. You won't know what to do with it when he gets it, okay? Like that 100 pages copied and printed out. What do I do with it now? I cut and pasted. But anyway, so it's got to be in writing. And you ask for a clarification of what he's asking for, or she's asking for. We're not required to identify themselves. I've got a current police officer was mad because he didn't get it on time, you know, whatever. And these people that are asking for open records so far are asking because they're mad about their value. I haven't had anybody make an accusation about us not doing something right, but they file their protest and they want to find some leverage, get their value lower. They find some kind of, this guy wanted a copy of all my ARB certificates where they went to training for the state. And we didn't get it in time, so I don't want to get it in time, because y'all had to get the people trained. We don't have time to play that game. It went in March, here's the dates, they went, your request is in July, we did it in March, we didn't do it in July, we can't have a meeting till they do it, the state makes sure we do that. So anyway, they're kind of wearing you out sometimes on open records, but that's the right they have, and we need to provide it in a courteous manner as much as possible to help them figure that out. Public meeting, this is something you're probably going to see. Requires a notice of a meeting with the time, place, and agenda must be posted how many hours? 72 hours prior to the meeting. I got a gut feeling you're going to see that 72-hour question somewhere, okay? Recording, any public meeting must be recorded by means of typewritten notes or agency's tape recorder. We used to record the minutes. We used to record those minutes of the meeting, and some of those former employees of mine would get together in a certain office the morning after the board meeting and listen to the tape. There's a special limitation on only that group, you know what I'm saying? So we finally, it was causing problems, so we finally said, hey, we're just gonna do minutes now, okay? Go to town and recording for some of y'all to get together the next day and kill work time, A, and then B, try to figure out some way to make something out of it, but anyway. Texas Constitution, Article 8 says, taxation shall be equal and uniform. I got a gut feeling you're gonna see that somewhere, okay? That's pretty standard in our industry. All property in the state, whether owned by natural persons or corporations other than municipality, shall be taxed in proportion to its value, which shall be ascertained as may be provided by law. That's a broad statement now. That's gonna bite us in the, what court's over, I'm afraid, or already has in our case, okay? You may see the question about Texas Constitution Article 8 says what? There's some of these things that have questions been fed back to me that ask specific questions. Section 1.11E, what does that say? It's talking about an agreement between a property owner and a property owner's agent. Chief Appraiser is fine with the agreement relates to a matter which is protested before the ARB, has been filed but not heard by the board, which may be corrected under 2525, has not been determined with the board yet. So there's an agreement that can be signed there. It kind of supersedes what the ARB might do. It's under 1.111E. If the property owner and the property owner's agent, chief appraiser sign off, it's a done deal. Another code section here that I would kind of think about, 605, talks about the adherence with generally accepted appraisal practices. That's in section 605. Board of Directors and President shall about buying a written reappraisal plan for the periodic reappraisal of all property in the boundaries of the district according to section 2518. You will have a question that will ask, I've had this fed back too many times, what happens ever September 15th of the even number of years? That's the reappraisal plan that will be adopted, okay? It's under 2518. But the reappraisal plan, every even number of year by September 15th is something you're going to see, or too many people told me they've seen that already, okay? That's text code 605. Whoa. 641 talks about the appointment of ARB members in a county with a population of 120,000 or more are appointed by the local administrative judge. So the question may be, if the county is less than 120,000 members, it's appointed by the board of directors. But if it's more than 120,000 members, it's appointed by the local administrative judge. That's a code section 641 possible question. A lot of these code section questions have popped up in some people's sample. 2218, although the chief appraiser shall impose a penalty on a person who failed to timely file a rendition on property reporting amount equal 10% of the total amount of the taxes imposed on the property for that year by tax unit participating in the district. 2301, I'm sure you have some questions about this. It's talking about all taxable property as market value as of January 1. That's found in 2301. It also goes on to say that the market value of the property shall be determined by the application of generally accepted appraisal methods and techniques. It goes on to say if the appraisal usually determines appraised values using mass appraisal standards, those standards must comply with USPAP. You'll probably have a USPAP question of some sort, possibly, potentially. 2301 goes on to say, except as otherwise provided by taxable property is appraised January the 1st. Under D, it says the market value of a residential homestead shall be determined solely on the basis of the homestead, regardless of whether the residential use of the property by owner is considered the highest and best use. You'll probably see something in that realm of things. 2301D is talking about the homestead being the highest and best use for the property. 2323 goes on to talk about regardless of whether the appraisal office has appraised the property and determined its market value, the current year appraisal office may increase the appraised value of resident homestead for the tax year up into the month. This is talking about the 10% cap. You're going to have a cap question probably. It's the sum of 10% of the appraised value of the property the preceding year, or the appraised value of the property the preceding year, and the market value of all new improvements to the property. You know how the cap works? Last year's value plus 10%. If you go up 50%, it's going to be capped at 10. So basically, go up 10% a year the next 4 or 5 years. People love to hate that one, don't they?
Yeah, because they're like, I didn't do nothing to my property, why did it go up again? It's gonna keep going up till you Can you mark it out?
Yeah, hit that ceiling. yeah,
Homestead
basically.
properties only,
Huh?
homestead properties.
Homestead only, yes.
That was a question on.
That's a question you might see, homestead only. 2518, each appraisal district shall implement a plan to periodically appraisal properties every, 3 years? Identify the property for its physical inspection, updating relevant characteristics, each property in appraisal records, identify the market areas, define market areas, identify property characteristics that affect property value, develop an appraisal model that reflects the relationship between the property characteristics and the market area, determine the contribution of the individual characteristics, and apply the conclusions in the model. What is it? Is this? Periodic reappraisal gotta be done how often? Once every what? Once every 3 years, doesn't it? I think it's in there somewhere, but I don't see it. Uh, 2519 talks about what? By April the 1st or soon thereafter, as practical, the property owner is a single-family residential property qualifies for a homestead. He should have what, a notice, shouldn't he? Or by May 1st, soon after his other property. So notices for homesteads need to go out on April 1st, all other property by May the 1st. Whoa, 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 we went off the track, didn't we? It jumped track and everything else. This update's wearing me out. This is, they do not remind me again, but I think I'll tell you that later. Here we go, 2525. I've had feedback about 2525 questions, okay? B says, the chief appraiser may change the appraisal role at any time to correct a name or address, a termination of ownership, a description of a property, multiple appraisals of a property, or a clerical error or other inaccuracy as prescribed by the board rule that does not increase the amount of tax liability. By the 10th day after the end of each calendar quarter, the chief appraiser shall submit to the appraisal review board and the board of directors a written report of each change that decreases the tax liability of the owner of the property. He will fed that back to me. 2525C says the appraisal review board on motion that the chief appraiser may direct order changes in the appraisal role for any of the 5 preceding years to correct clerical errors that affect a property owner's liability for tax imposed in that year, multiple appraisals of a property that year, and it goes on to say the inclusion of property that does not exist in the former location described in the appraisal roll, or an error in which the property is shown as owned by a person who did not own the property on January 1st of that year. And 2525D, feedback on this. This is the 1/3 over. At any time prior to taxes becoming delinquent, a property owner or chief appraiser may file a motion with the appraisal review board to change the appraisal roll, reflect an error that resulted in an incorrect appraisal value for the owner's property. However, the error may not be corrected unless it resulted in appraised value that exceeds by more than 1/3 of the appraised value, correct value. You will have a 2525D question, I'm pretty sure, based on other people's comments and feedback. 4140, slow down, trigger. 4141A, a property owner is entitled to protest before the ARB the following action items, following actions. About the appraised value of the property, unequal, inclusion of the owner's property records, denial of the property owner partial exemption, determination of the owner's land to qualify for special appraisal, identification of taxing units in which the owner's property is taxable, determination of property ownership, determination of a change of use of land appraised for special valuation, and any other action by the chief appraiser appraisal district ARB that adversely affects the property owner. So there's several things there. You can have a question, which of the following is not one of the items that can protest before the ARB, or one of them is. You have is or is not. Is or is not, I guess if someone does it, but anyway. 41.411, a property owner is entitled to protest before the ARB the failure of the chief appraiser or the appraisal review board to provide or deliver any notice of appraised value. We have a few of those occasionally. 41.15, property owner must pay timely any tax in dispute or forfeit that remedy. So if a guy wants to file a 1/3 over, if he filed it before January 31st, he had to pay the taxes not in dispute. I told you about the lady that called and said her $525,000 house only cost her $450,000 to build. So we're saying, okay, you can, not gonna be 1/3 over. What she said, well, it wasn't finished yet. It wasn't worth that January 1st. Okay, file your 1/3 over. You still gotta pay on the amount. This is not in dispute. Well, I can't pay anything right now. So I'm thinking, you built a house, paid $450,000 and you can't pay any taxes. Somebody missed their math class that week, I guess. But she's adamant that she had any money, taxes too high, and it wasn't right, but she'll probably be on the social media bandwagon probably for us. You have social media in y'all's area that kind of stirs the pot? You want the internet?
She doesn't in her office.
What is internet?
There's parts of our county, our cell service is pretty bad. Y'all's is pretty good, it's all flat, right? Ours is the hills and the creeks and the creek bottoms that get us. 41.43, protest on the ground of inequality. A protest on the ground of unequal appraisal of property shall be determined in the favor of the protesting party unless the appraisal district establishes that the appraisal ratio of the property is equal to or less than the median level of appraisal of reasonable and representative sample of other properties in the district, or appraisal ratio of the property is equal to or less than the median level of appraisal of a sample of properties in the appraisal district consisting of a reasonable number of other properties similarly situated to or same general kind of character as the property subject to protest, or the appraised value of the property is equal to or less than the median appraised value of a reasonable number of comparable properties appropriately adjusted. It's a pretty big ball of wax, isn't it? As an alternative to filing an appeal under 4201, a property owner is entitled to appeal through binding arbitration. Under this chapter, appraisal review board, order determining the protest. Under 41.41A, 1 or 2, concerning the appraised value, the property owner qualifies as his homestead, or the appraised value of the property is less than $5 million. That $5 million question will probably come up in your future, okay? This is your brain exploding with love. That was a terrible way to finish that, okay? We still got some time, so let's do something here. We pull this RTA review out, and we'll talk about it. Whoa. Well, maybe not. That's fine. Here we go. That's actually, I think it's the one I had. So I've got a law one that says, this is the ethics one, the law one. I've got a law one from the RTC. Let's do this right here. I can find it. Where's the purple? Oh, we have one of those. Let me try. I've got it here. We're gonna find the last thing we did today. Just kidding. Okay. did it off of something, didn't I? What was it we got now? Well, I've got a copy of it, so why do I not have? It's gotta be in here, so. Yeah, here's what it is. I thought I had it somewhere. Here we go, property tax law from the RTA side of things. This is a better review, actually, what we got in our side. We talked about some basic terms in the RTC, the law class. These are probably better terms than what we've got, say. I've seen these terms show up somewhere too. Term constitution. It's the most fundamental law of a state or nation.
I think that was actually on
Huh?
my collection. I think that was on my collection.
I think so too. I think somebody's had that. The fact that the Constitution, the most fundamental written law of a state or nation. A statute is a written law, is engaged, enacted by the legislative bodies such as Congress or the Texas legislature. The property tax code is a collection of statutes dealing with property taxes. It is the principal source of all law for the Texas property tax system. Case law is a law that's set out in written decisions made by appellate courts. Administrative law is a written law that is adopted by a state or federal agency carrying out authority delegated to it by the legislature. And we have agency rule, like the PTAC can have an agency rule about something that's with property tax. An AG opinion. Texas government code requires the Attorney General to give opinions about the law to the governor, state agency heads, other certain named public officials. Unlike case law, however, AG opinions are only advisory opinions. Principal state agencies with property tax authority are the Comptroller's Office, Department of Licensing and Regulation, and the State Office of Administrative Hearings. Comptroller of Public Accounts makes rules about property tax administrators and is responsible for allocation of railroad rolling stock to counties. TDR makes rules about conduct and qualification of property tax officials. The State Office of Administrative Hearings hears appeals by appraisal review boards in 6 counties, and have added 5 additional counties 2 years later. The Constitution, constitutional principles, basic taxation should be equal and uniform, the basis of its market value. It's taxable as exempt. The tax code kind of breaks into several different categories. Chapter 11 talks about exemptions, 21 handles situs, 22 handles renditions, 23 deals with appraisal, 24 deals with statewide appraisal railroad rolling stock, 25 deals with preparation of appraisal record, 26 shifts the folks of the code to assessor and the governing bodies, 31 through 34 talks about collections and assessments, 41 deals with appraisal review boards, 41A covers appeals through binding arbitration, 42 covers appeal to district court, and 43 covers tax units against the appraisal district. General principle about appraisal district basic, the law creates a district, gives it authority. It's not a part of the county or any local government, has the same boundaries as the county. Board of Directors, Chief Appraiser, Appraisal Review Board. We've talked about their 2-year terms and the responsibilities earlier. Our budget is funded by the taxing entities. They contribute a share in proportion as the amount of taxes they levy in the county. Each unit share is generally paid in quarterly payments that pay a penalty for good cause if they're late. Budget is the official legal document that shows how much the district can spend in a given year. What else we got here? classification is based on their percentage of the total levies in the county. General appraisal principles, property tax appraisal are very similar to appraisals for other purposes. However, the Constitution, the code, and case law have certain numerous special revisions. Generally, it's January the 1st. A special appraisal is required for productivity evaluation. Some limitations of the homestead cap, and also special appraisals required for homestead cap and also agriculture and timberland. 10% cap on a homestead. First applied in '98, qualifies to homestead only. Begins with the second year the property is qualified for the residential homestead. Tell you how to get the cap. Foreclosures, we have to consider those that happen in one of the last 3 years. If it's in the neighborhood. Special appraisal, we said 1D1. Most common. There's change of use penalties if they change the use of an agricultural property. There's a calculation of gathering up prior year taxes, the difference in the market value and the taxable value. Is currently at 7% annual interest. I think they're in the process of trying to change that also. Dealer inventories, I haven't had anybody tell me about this, but it's out there. That's sort of for their class. This is basically they take their sales each month, divide it by 12, they send that tax to the TAC's office. Situs issues we talked about earlier, place where the property is taxable. If the property is taxable in a particular jurisdiction, it takes situs in that jurisdiction. Property tax code revisions of jurisdiction. That's real property, personal property is in Texas more than a temporary period. Or personal property that is continually used in Texas, whether or not it occurs on a regular basis. Located in the unit on January 1st for more than a temporary period, normally located in the unit. Doesn't have a symbol location. None of the three, this is something I've seen, none of the three situations applies. The owner maintains their principal place of business and resides in a taxing unit. It's a domicile there. Exemption excludes all or part of property taxation. We got that down. Absolute, partial, and lump sum, percentage, mandatory, local option, appraised value, taxable value, percentage exemptions for homeowners, over 65 exemptions, disabled persons. I need another note before I forget about it. Well, here's my note, oh wait, I found my note, page 53, that RTC review. But anyway, I was trying to find it in my notes right here already. What else we got? 15,000, these are actually changed. That's 25 and 10 there. Optional homesteads, what else we got? Appraisal cap and tax ceiling that applies to people that are over 65 and or age 65 and older or disabled. It caps their levy amount, not their value, you know that already. Tax ceiling provides tax will never be higher than the amount of the ceiling, it's all called a tax freeze. Age 65 or disabled. It's mandatory for school districts and optional for cities, counties, and junior colleges. If they have something, in case we have the situation now, if they're over 65 or disabled and they move into property worth less than, say, $35,000, you get a zero freeze. They can port that to another property in the state and get a zero freeze too. It's kind of cool. Disabled veterans, there's two different types. There's 100% disabled veterans. There's one that ranges from $5,000 to $12,000 depending on the degree of disability. 100% DV, from the Veteran Service Connected Disability, or it must have a disability rating 100% disabled or of individual unemployability. Surviving spouse can keep that provided she lives in the same property and remarried. The first call I got was from a lady I knew. That law passed, so I qualified for just 100% disabled veterans. My former husband was a disabled veteran. When I divorced him in '91, well, you don't qualify. Well, what, I'm just